What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the final Blazers Uprise post-game show of the 2023-2024 season, presented by BetUS and Manta Sleep Mask. Today, the Blazers lose, and Eric, that's a good thing. They lose by 39 to the Sacramento Kings, playing a bunch of end-of-the-bench players. This game, really not much to talk about at all. Banton gets ejected and starts off 0 for 12 from 3. That's the most notable thing on the Blazers' end. But what was notable is other games, as the Blazers went into the day with an opportunity for a two-way tie for third-best lottery odds, but they needed to lose. They needed the Spurs to win, and the Spurs were playing the Pistons, so we thought that was a realistic possibility. Spurs end up winning, so the Spurs completely surpassed the Blazers, but then the third factor in that was Charlotte needed to beat Cleveland, who was playing for playoff seeding, and Charlotte beats Cleveland by 10, thus tying the Blazers' record at 21-61, giving the Blazers a two-way tie for third best lottery odds. Eric, this was a pretty damn good day considering, you know, we're rooting for ping pong balls here as we head into the offseason, and the Blazers now basically have a 50-50% chance at being top 4.
Let's go. Really cool. Just a side note, what the heck is Cleveland doing? The basketball karma gods are going to get them. You give up a chance at home court advantage in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs in exchange for an easier matchup in the first round, but having to face Boston on the road in round 2. It just makes no sense to me, dude. That's what joke franchises do, and that's something we would try to do, you know, the Blazers franchise. And I hate teams that try to do that crap. You just let the chips fall where they may, and they cost themselves now a legit chance in a wide open playoffs this year at maybe making a conference finals or something. It's really dumb in my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, man. I did not understand them doing that at all, but that's what they elected to do, and the Blazers benefit from it. So thank you to Cleveland for doing what they did today and allowing the Blazers to get third best odds, a tie for third best odds. So the way the odds shake out, let's just head straight over to Tankathon here in a second, because that is the most notable thing from this game. But we'll also kind of recap the season a little bit. Tomorrow we'll have Blazers Uprise Live on our second channel where we react to, or no, it's not on our second channel. We're doing it on the main channel this year. So right here on this channel, we will have a live stream tomorrow night, approximately 9:30 p.m., where we will be reacting to exit interviews, which are happening tomorrow, and 3 have already been done. That's Robert Williams, Scoot Henderson, and who was the third guy you said, Eric?
Shane Sharp,
yeah. So we'll react to all of that tomorrow. We'll also do some giveaway, like subscriber appreciation stuff tomorrow on that live stream, and then on Thursday we'll do playoff predictions. That's what we have coming up this week. But yeah, it's the final post-game show of the year. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us all season long. Appreciate you guys supporting us, supporting the channel, tuning into streams. A lot of you said you were tuning into streams even though you weren't tuning into games because you didn't want to watch this team. It was a brutal season, but listen, man, at least they have third best lottery odds, you know, a tie for third best lottery odds. At least it benefited, and man, after beating the Hornets and the Wizards there in early April, I thought the Blazers were going to be 5th, right? Now, I didn't say it in early February, but I thought the Blazers were going to end up being 5th. They move up. San Antonio goes on a tear. They win their last 2 games. They're 6-4, their last 10. Charlotte even gets a win, that win against Cleveland. And now the lottery picture, Eric, looks much, much prettier. Let me make sure the soundboard isn't going to spam your ears with, well, it happened anyway. I cut it off. I cut it off. I don't know how to stop that from happening. It's just a tradition at this point. But this is what things look like. Thank you for the donation, Smug. Thank you for the member messages. We'll get to those in a second. This is what the lottery odds look like going into lottery day, okay? The Blazers there at 3 is pretty surreal because we haven't been that high like all season long, Eric. And last day of the season, we move up with a 5-game losing streak to end the year. They give us 50.3% chance top 4, and they give Charlotte 50, so I think it's more like 50.1, 50.2. Either way, the Blazers are technically more likely to be top 4 than they are to move outside the top 4, which is pretty crazy. And number 1 overall pick, 13.3% chance. Like, basically, you're talking about a minuscule difference between the Detroit Pistons at 14-68, had that, 28-game losing streak or whatever it was earlier in the year, and our odds. We, all but maximized them the best we could hope to do. Obviously, if, Charlotte won one more game, or if we lost to Charlotte, then we'd have a 52% chance, but I'm very happy with these odds. Better than last year when we were sitting here at 5th with 42% chance. 8 percentage chance better at top 4, and of course, we got top 4. We got the 3rd pick last year, so very happy with this tanking picture to end the season. Something to smile about.
Yeah, and just to make it crystal clear how it works, there will be a coin flip, an official coin flip for any teams that are tied. So there'll be one for Portland and Charlotte. The winner of that coin flip, there's since one is 14% and one's 12.5%, there's 1,000 number combinations. Third is 140, fourth is 125. Those will be split evenly. What is that? Quick math, 265. So each team would then have 132 combinations instead of 140 or 125, respectively. And then there'd be one extra combination that the winner of that coin flip would get. So that 1.1%, those two will go to the winner of the coin flip. And then probably most importantly, but hopefully does not come into play for Portland, and that's if you are not in the top 4, the coin flip also determines who would be first then in rank in terms of the teams that don't get the top 4 picks. So if we win the coin flip, the worst we could get is 7 if all 4 teams below us move up into the top 4. And if we get 4th, obviously we could fall then to 8th in that scenario. But yeah, so if we don't stay in the top 4, it's crucial that we win that coin flip just to have an extra spot on Charlotte if they also don't stay in the top 4.
Do you know when that coin flip takes place?
It's usually sometime really quick here after the end of the season. I assume it's going to be sometime within this next week.
Yeah, so it kind of changes the way the lottery is consumed in a way, right? Like, we're used to Blazers being 5th, so if 2 teams below them move up, then it's like, oh, Portland should be here at 7, right? Because 2 teams moved up. Instead, at 3, right, if the Blazers win that coin flip, then if 2 teams move up, you're getting to 5. It's still basically the last team before the top 4, and the Blazers are one of the 4 teams in the top 4. So it is a little different in terms of, just the way we consume the lottery. I mean, at the end of the day, picks are drawn and then they're revealed. There's really not much more to it. But in terms of the way we're going to be on the edges of our seats here on May 12th during lottery night, it is a little different being in that top 4 that we're in now. But obviously, if the Blazers lose that coin flip, they'll be 4th. And since that determines the order of teams that move outside the top 4, then if a couple teams move up, then you'd be expecting the Blazers at 6. That's just how it works. So yeah, new lottery scenario to talk about at the end of the season, which is great, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And Toronto finishes 6th. That pick is top 6 protected. So they are praying for a scenario like last year where no one below that point moves up above them, meaning they would keep their pick even if it doesn't move up. So they need someone behind 7 through 14 to move up, and I think we want to root for that same scenario, right? We don't want anyone 7 through 14 to move up.
No.
Anyway, unless you want to debate the Golden State Warriors pick being good for us moving up, but that's the only one you can maybe even question being somewhat relative towards us.
As then it would be only top 1 protected next year in a loaded draft, and the Blazers seem resigned to trading it, which I don't think is the right move. So, 100%. Eric, we don't have 1 coin flip to worry about, though. We have 2.
Oh, yeah.
We have 2.
Golden State ended up winning.
Yeah, Golden State, Sacramento, right? They're tied. So that's going to determine 13-14 if neither of these teams play their way in. If Golden State loses and then Sacramento plays their way in and beats the the Lakers in the play-in, then the Lakers pick would be here, right? Also, Chicago-Atlanta, whichever team wins that game, if they beat the loser of Miami-Philadelphia in the 7-8 playing game, like if Atlanta or Chicago can miraculously play their way into the playoffs, then that would bump, Miami down to here. And then maybe you'd have another coin flip, actually, because Miami has the same record as Golden State. It's very, very confusing. But the good news is, Eric, if Golden State plays their way into the playoffs, their pick at worst is going to be 17th, and that's if Atlanta-Chicago plays their way in. If neither one of these teams plays their way in, then Golden State's pick at worst will be 16th, and that's basically a 15-16 tie with Miami, right? Because all these teams are 47 and 35. So looks like that this Warriors pick, the range of options are 12 to 17, but 12 and 17 is depending on if Atlanta or Chicago win their way into the playoffs, and then it's 17 if, Golden State loses the tiebreaker. So realistically, 13 to 15, 13 to 16 is where you're looking at this Golden State Warriors pick. There really isn't too much of a difference between these couple of picks. If Golden State plays their way in the next week, then we know that we have their pick and we know where they're going to be picking. So then we can start discussing all of that. But obviously, if they're in the lottery, they will have a small percentage chance to move up into the top 4. This pick is top 4 protected, meaning that if it ends up in the top 4, Golden State keeps it, and the Blazers get it next year instead, it becomes top 1 protected. And then the following year, it's unprotected.
Yep. Yeah, that's. I don't know how much any of you got a chance to see the Hoop Summit last night, but man, there's some talent in that game, and it had me thinking about the next couple of years' drafts. But I wouldn't necessarily mind that scenario, but obviously there's a very small chance of that happening.
Yeah, I need Traore to commit to Gonzaga, or however you say his name. That dude was impressive last night, but so was Cooper Flag. He went off. We can talk about that in a little bit, but let's see if we're lucky with these new odds, Eric. Is it luck? Is it a bad thing we moved up? Let's find out, at least with this simulation. At 14, the Blazers get the Warriors pick. At 13, Sacramento. This is the first time seeing them up here in basically all season. 12 is OKC v. Houston. 11, Chicago. 10 is Atlanta. 9 is Houston via Brooklyn. 8 is Utah. 7 is San Antonio via Toronto, meaning that Memphis moved up into the top 4.
And Toronto gets screwed.
Yeah, and Toronto gets screwed. At 6 is the San Antonio Spurs. So now at this point, it's not like the Blazers should be 5th because they're tied with Charlotte. So one of those teams, or even Detroit, Washington, could be here at 5. And at 5 is your Portland Trailblazers, moving down 2 spots. I will say this, though, Eric. The one good thing about moving up is if the Blazers fall down, they're going to be higher, right? Like, if they had 5th best odds...
We'd be talking about 7 in this scenario.
Yeah, if they had 5th best odds, they only had like a 2% chance of remaining at 5. Like, either they moved up or they most likely moved down to 6 or even 7, right? So if the Blazers sitting here 3 or 4 or whatever, we'll see what this coin flip is, then the pick is still higher even if they move down. It would suck if they move down, but at 5, like, you're looking at maybe a Buzelis type of guy being there, Cody Williams type of guy being there. I'm very happy with the Blazers moving up for this reason alone, and it can't go understated. There is a top tier of front court prospects, small forward, power forward, center type of prospects. And if the Blazers move down, there's a good chance to be able to draft one of those. Whereas if the Blazers were moving down to 7 or 8, you might have only had, like, from my top tier, I have a top 8. You might have only had Reed Shepherd left, right? A guard. Maybe Rob Dillingham left, a guard. I love Rob Dillingham as a prospect, and at that point, maybe you take him. But obviously, with the guard logjam, that creates some very big question marks. So sitting here at 5, got a chance to get a guy like Buzelis, a guy like Ron Holland, a guy like Cody Williams, right? Assuming Risa Shea and Sargo top 2, one of those guys is guaranteed to be there. So depends on how you feel about those prospects for sure, but I'm happy with that.
I'm actually, this is cool because now we can actually get the 5th pick. Like, if we're 5, we talked about that all last offseason. There's only like a 2% chance that you stay at 5, so it's very unlikely. but now there's a lot of realistic chances we could get 5. And to be honest, Tori, in this draft, if Sar goes 1, I'm not really tripping if we have 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you can make an argument that it might be better not to have to decide and pick a guy. You might be reaching at a player at 2, whereas at 5 you just pick whatever one on whatever's one's left that's highest on your big board, and you're not going to get as criticized for that pick as you would have if you picked that same guy at 2 maybe. And I still think there's a good chance some of the forwards you like Matas and Holland and stuff, will be there at 5. And so those guys might end up being better than some of the guys, like if Ricochet goes 2 or 3, you know?
Yeah. It's going to be fascinating to see how all this plays out, and we're going to have a bunch of draft-related videos, live streams, content, etc. as we head up to the draft, and we just got to see where the Blazers pick is. The lottery's in less than a month. The season ended a little later this year, and the lottery's a little earlier. Normally, it's like season ends on April 10th, and the lottery's on like May 17th, May 18th. No, season ends today, April 14th. The lottery's on May 12th. So a little less time than normal in between the end of the season and the lottery, which I'm cool with because it's the anticipation can start to be a little too much just waiting for the lottery. But this year, not as much pressure as well. And I will say this, there's a chance, you guys, if you've watched us all season, you know we really, really, really want Alex Sarr. There is a chance he doesn't go number 1. So the Blazers also maximize their odds to not just move up to 1, but potentially be 2 if whoever's at 1 takes a Zachary Ricochet type of prospect. And I mean, maybe there's even a long shot chance he falls to 3, right? So that's why moving up in terms of lottery odds is really good for this team, because it gives them a much more realistic chance at getting a guy like Alex Sarr. Let's reveal the top 4. You guys are asking for me to re-sim it. I'll do it just for you after this.
Wait. Let's wait and do it later. Like, let's just do another.
Okay,
one
we can do it later. We can do it later. Charlotte at 4.
We'll do part 2.
Washington at 3. Detroit at 2. Memphis at 1. I like the way you think, because you're keeping them engaged. They're going to stick around now. So, I love it. Eric thinking like a real YouTuber. Memphis moves up to 1. That's crazy. I think they could be a very realistic team for Zachary Ricochet. Memphis and Detroit 1 and 2 would be very interesting, because I feel like Detroit could go with like a Reed Shepherd or, just somebody to help their shooting issues at 2. They got Duran, right? Like, I could see Sarr falling to 3 in this scenario if it's like Memphis, Detroit 1 and 2. This draft's going to be wild, man. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, or just, man, Sarr and Jaren Jackson would be interesting as well.
Yep, 100%.
Think about the fast breaks with those guys and Jaw back and...
Yeah.
That's what man. Yeah.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy, man. But that's Tankathon. We'll do another one a little bit later. We'll also take a look at playoff matchups a little bit later. Do you have anything from this game that you want to talk about, Eric? Well, first. Shout out. Let me think. You can think about this, because maybe I put you on the spot. You can think about this for a second, because I got to thank a couple of member messages as well as a donation. Shout out to Jackson, member for 38 months, and one of our moderators says, congratulations to Zach for securing that number 1 pick. Yes, Zach finished last in picks against the spread, so he gets some sort of number 1 pick. I don't know what he gets to pick, but he gets number 1 pick. Shout out to Jackson. I appreciate you for being a member. And shout out to chat for winning picks against the spread. You guys hung on. You guys hung on late. You clutched up. Congratulations. So that's just more giveaway stuff that maybe we'll do in a week or two, a different stream than tomorrow. I got a few fun things planned for you guys tomorrow. Chris S., member for 38 months as well, says, it's been a rough season. Thank you guys for all the hard work you put in to keep us entertained. You're appreciated by all of us. Roll on the draft. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for being a channel member. Thank you for being as supportive as you've always been. Nathan, member for 14 months, says, the one thing missing this year was Jake Layman. Yes, that's the one guy we need to bring back. Hey, if he was on the remix, that would make him even more fun to watch, I know Harkless came back, but I don't know, he's not like a fun G League player. He's a defensive guy, right? Like, Layman would be fun to watch offensively in the G League, not gonna lie. Where's he even playing? I'm sure Nathan knows as the number 1 Jake Layman fan.
Shout to Greece or something.
Yeah, Hopefully he's happy, man. Hopefully he's good. That's the one Blazer player I met. He was a cool guy. Shout out to Smog, $10 donation, says, Alexandre Sarr, you are a Portland Trailblazer. Also like the stream Bozos. Thank you, Smog, for the $10 donation. Alex Sarr, hopefully he is a Portland Trailblazer. And shout out to Oscar Member for 26 months, says, wish we could trade these odds for next year. Yeah, could you imagine having these odds next year, Eric? Oof.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome, but still, I know it sucks, but we chose this path. I don't get the people. Well, I mean, I get it. I don't want to say it that way. I get it. Like my mom doesn't want us to tank again next year. But if we really want to rebuild right, I think that's the right play.
Yep, 100%. Could you imagine Sarr, Cooper Flag, Scoot, Sharp, like that's your core? We could technically be very close to having like a top 3 young core in the league. If we get lucky. And if we probably suck next year. But, let's not talk about next year. We're recapping this season. The season just ended today. Shout out to Taylor Packer, member for 2 months. Says, been a rough year, but you guys have been clutch with consistent content. As always, appreciate you guys. Thanks for being the best Blazer platform. 100 emoji. Thank you, Taylor. Appreciate you, bro. I appreciated our spirited debates on Ayton earlier in the year. And I appreciate you coming back after those spirited debates. And, I know you missed the sex bots that we used to get in our live chat that don't come around anymore. They migrated to Twitter, unfortunately. But still happy to see you here despite that.
Link in bio.
Link in bio.
Is that going to get him in here?
Yeah, no, I don't see him anymore, unfortunately. It's YouTube got their stuff together and Twitter fell apart. Anyway. Eric, anything you want to talk about from this game?
Yeah, congrats to Delano Banton for setting the record for most threes missed in a game without a make at 15. Shatters the previous record of 12.
You know what's funny? It's like, we've been talking about his three-point percentage in a Blazer uniform, right? It's like, oh, he's shooting 35% from three in a Blazer uniform, right? Like, if he can just keep that up, he could be a really good role player. Right? For his career, he's like 30% or whatever. This completely skews that negatively. Like, if you go back and look at this season, I don't know what it is now, but it's real bad. You just add 15 misses onto that. That's crazy. 0 for 15 and an ejection. Phenomenal game, man.
Dropped the shoulder a little bit.
I didn't understand that. So going into this game, Eric, he was shooting 34% from three for the Blazers. He was 57 for 168. So he is now 57 for 183, which is 31%. 31% on the season. Not on the season, in a Blazer uniform. His three-point percentage as a Blazer dropped from 34 to 31% today. That's wild. That's wild stuff, man. 6 for 26. He got his shots up.
He just kept chucking, man. Just kept chucking. That's exactly what we didn't want him to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this game obviously didn't matter, but...
Like, was he trying to get a 40-piece? I mean, he didn't even get a 20-piece. 17 points on 26 shots is phenomenal work to secure the tank. Maybe we should be thanking him. This box score is just wild, dude. Chris Murray, 3 for 15, 1 for 7 from 3. Finishes off the season with a 1 for 7 3-point shooting night. 18 rebounds, though, against Keegan. So that's cool. Keegan was 2 for 7, 4 for 12 from the field, so he didn't play too good either. But, yeah, I mean, Repair hit a couple threes. This game was gross. Ibu Baji, though, your guy, 10 minutes off the bench, was a +4.
Yeah, we would have won if he came in, so good thing they didn't play him much.
Yeah, I don't get it. Why is he only playing 10 minutes, man?
Well, we had two centers in front of him, Moses Brown and Uprise, I guess.
Bro, just play Reith at the 4. Shoot, play Reith at point guard. Your point guard was 0 for 15 from 3, so you might as well have just played Moses Brown at point guard. Like, who cares? They were getting destroyed in this game from the jump, man. It's gross stuff. A lot of blowouts today. Anything else you want to talk about? Taze Moore.
I mean, he had a cool dunk
Good for
that
him.
the Blazers were giving out a Haber Trophy during, so we didn't even get to see it live. This is hilarious. I don't know if you paid that close of attention, anyone, but so this is what happened. Going to the fourth quarter, Lamar teases to stick around because Taze Moore is going to do something in the fourth quarter. You're going to wish you saw it or whatever. And then he has this dunk during a Hammer Trophy, and they don't even show it till later. And then later on, Lamar's like, "See, I told you to stick around for that." And it's like, well, you didn't even show it to us.
You guys didn't even stick around for that.
That summed up like the entire Blazer broadcasting. Like, yeah, as Blazers fan says, classic Blazers broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to go out. Like that just, you said it. That sums up the season for them. Lots of misplays this year. We should have kept a tally. My goodness. But this might be the last game on Root Sports, by the way. There is a chance that that's the case. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see, hopefully.
Sorry, I tried to let you talk when you were mid-sip.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, hopefully it's the last game on Root Sports. I mean, I think there's a chance we'll see. We'll cover that, of course, during the offseason. Will they actually go to a model where they do subscription-based stuff? That would be sick. Will they start their own network? I don't know. I don't know what's in the cards for them. I don't know what their options are, but hopefully it's anything but Root Sports.
I would actually be... I think there's two different things here. One, I think it would be a good decision to go to do it to where it was subscription-based or on a platform that was more easily accessible with subscription basis. But I just wonder, with the way viewership was down this year, if they... Because they'll be a laughing stock if they try to charge people to buy games next year, you know? I don't think they can do that unless they make it free the first year, you know?
I mean, if they did $10 a month, you get access to every Blazer game, or if it's like $20 a month, you get a 200 level ticket each month and get to watch every Blazer game. I don't think that's that bad, even if they suck. Like, I would honestly pay that. As long as they had like a good app that worked. That's the thing I'm worried about. If they start their own thing, okay, they already produce their own broadcast, so they have no issues with that because they already do it. You probably have to have an app or some like easy way to consume it on a mobile device. I could see that just having a bunch of problems, so who knows. But as long as it's easier to access, I'm cool with that. Colt says, so tired with the Mariners, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to think about Root Sports because it makes me think about the Mariners, and they piss me off. $10 a month is cheap AF? Yeah, see, I'm just setting the bar low. I don't know. I don't know what it'd be, but $10 a month, like, I feel like a lot of people would pay that.
Yeah, all of us that watch every game anyway.
Yeah, all of us diehards in here in the post-game stream
Right.
because we're still paying attention to the team. Yeah,
But
what about the other people that aren't here because they're
the
not?
70% right now who aren't watching the Blazers that they're down in coverages are not paying $10 a month. They're not even watching on packages they already have in a lot of cases.
That's true. That's true. How do we get those fans back? I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think you got to do what the Suns do. I don't think this organization will, though, but you have to do what the Suns did, in my opinion. I think that's the only way to truly garner the respect of the people who have tuned out is if you make the product completely free.
Yeah. The thing is, when the product gets better, then they like bump that up to some sort of paid price. People would probably have a problem with that because it's been free, right? So,
well, this is what you do. You just say, hey, look, I know it's been a tough watch these last 3 years with the product on the floor, especially the ends of seasons. We want to reward you with at least one season of completely free for everyone ball. Moving forward, we hope to be better to where you want to pay for a good product that we'll put out. But for this season, we want to give you guys a reward for sticking with us through 3 bad years. I think that would be the perfect PR play for them.
Yeah.
I don't think they will do that because they're cheap, but in my opinion, that's the way to salvage what they've done these last 3 years for the people who have completely tuned them out and are pissed off about the way they went about things.
Yeah, you show you care about the fans. You make a long-term play in terms of their investment. Once the product does get better, like fans will remember that too, right? From this ownership group that they've been disenfranchised with as a fan base. It seems like as a whole, right? There's people out there that defend Jody, but she kind of needs a goodwill move. You know, she doesn't talk to anyone. She's ducked the tax with winning teams. The team's gone this direction. They can't even polish their freaking court, right? The TV deal sucks. This organization needs a goodwill move to show their fans, like, yes, we do actually care about you guys a little bit. Obviously, we still care about our dollars and our commas and how much money we're stacking, but you guys matter a little bit to us. And, I mean, that wave is the future as well, so you're getting ahead of the curve. It would be a smart play, in my opinion, but they probably won't do it.
Yeah.
They probably won't do it. Oh, well.
We'll see.
We'll see. We shall see. Anyway, Eric, where do you want to go with this? We can, I don't have anything else to say on this game. General things for the season, you know, it's kind of a season recap is what this could be.
Does Sabonis still have his double-double streak?
Sabonis finished with 18 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists.
But did he have it going into this game?
I'm not sure.
Has he lost that yet? Does anyone in chat know? I was wondering why, like, up 30 in the second half, they were playing some of their starters still. Travis says it ended. Okay, that makes even less sense as why they were playing their starters so late in this game. But yeah.
Yeah. Was anyone else at the game and they were chanting 24 sucks talking about Justin Minaya? Kings fans? That's kind of weird. Why would you talk trash about him? You know what's funny about the Kings is they finally make it back to the playoffs. They're on the upswing. Now, they're the 9th seed, Eric. They're the 9th seed. And they didn't really have a legitimate chance to win the championship last year. They got the monkey off their back in terms of making the playoffs. But are we sure they're not still in a little bit of a, I don't know, like rebuild mode is not the right word, but they're kind of stuck in the middle. I hope the Blazers rebuild doesn't go the way of like, oh, we got a 3 seed and we lost in 7 games and then we're back down to 9th.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that did happen, right? We're the 3 seed 2 years in a row and then
yeah,
barely made the playoffs the next year.
Let's not do that again.
With the first ever play-in.
Let's not do that again.
That's exactly what happened, right?
Yeah, I think the Kings are going to miss the playoffs, dude. I don't think they're winning 2 games in a row to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So they were 46 and 36, right? But that's good for 9th. And
to get in, they'd have to beat the Warriors, who beat them Game 7 on their home court last year, and the loser of the Lakers Pelicans, which would be another tough game. So yeah, I don't think they're making it in either.
Yeah. So tough stuff for the Kings. The Warriors, Kings Warriors. That's going to be a great playing game. We got really good playing matchups. Pelicans Lakers, Kings Warriors, 76ers Heat. Those are 3 really good playing matchups. And then you have Bulls Hawks. Like, cool. DeMar DeRozan gets to take on Trae Young, I guess. I mean, the Bulls almost beat the Heat in the play-in last year, so, I mean, maybe they have a chance, but
I just want one of those 2 teams to win there. But then it makes the playoffs less interesting, though, because Heat and the Sixers as the 7 and 8 seed is crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is wild. Like, right now, if the seeds held through the play-in, you'd have OKC versus the Lakers. You'd have Denver versus New Orleans. Minnesota versus Phoenix. That series is going to happen. That's 3 versus 6. So that's going to be a fun series. Timberwolves versus Suns. And then Clippers, Mavericks. again. That we knew that going into today. Then on the Eastern side of things, you'd have Celtics Heat, right? I don't have to explain why that would be a phenomenal first-round series, considering the history between those two teams and the Heat beating them in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Knicks 76ers, right? Those two teams very close geographically. You got Embiid. Is he out? Like, what's his status? Because
no, they sat him out for precautionary reasons today. He's fine. I think. Yeah.
So Embiid versus the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, our guy Josh Hart, DiVincenzo been playing great. That is just going to be a great series because the Sixers looked like a top team in the league when Embiid was healthy. Tyrese Maxey's took a step this year, but the Knicks, since trading for OG Anunoby, have been very good. They've just been injury prone. Julius Randle won't play in that series, but otherwise they're healthy. So that's going to be a heavyweight fight. Bucks Pacers. The Bucks have been struggling. The Bucks Pacers, of course, had the whole Giannis Antetokounmpo basketball incident and like beefed earlier in the season. And Malik Beasley back in January said, watch, we're going to end up playing them in the playoffs and it's not going to be pretty for them. So that, I think, is a very interesting series. And then you got Cavs Magic, the upstart Magic, the Cavs, two young teams. I think that's going to be a fun game just to see if the Magic can actually win a series this year. They took a leap. That was, I think I was higher on them than anybody else in the preseason. I thought they were going to be like the 6th seed. They got the 5th seed, Eric. So it's going to be fun to look back at preseason predictions for that because you had a couple young teams, Magic, Pacers, taking a step there.
Yep, and then you have the Blazers officially are last, not even tied anymore, last in the West.
Let's go. We're the best at being the worst. Might as well be the best at something.
That is the one thing you've got to give Cronin and Chauncey credit for. They are the best at sucking at the end of seasons.
Yeah. It's the injury excuse becomes a good thing, it seems, late in the season when they just sit a million guys and Jeremy Grant hasn't played a game in April since 2021. Crazy stuff. But yeah, that's the playoff matchups. We can actually take a look at some spread lines in those playoff matchups a little bit later. We'll see what's posted over on BetUS. This stream is presented by BetUS. Here's a couple quick words from them.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
And if you guys want $25 of free play via BetUS, DM me on Twitter or send me a message on Discord with your account number, and I can hook you up. And they're trying to give away up to $125 of free play just for this channel. Okay, so if you want that, let me know. Sign up with BetUS. Using that link in the description box below helps out the channel. Promo code JOIN125 for 3 deposit bonuses of 125%. If you want to get in on the playoff action. If you want to root for a team and you want to put a little something on the line to motivate you to root for that team, you can do it with BetUS. The Bucks, right, talked about maybe betting money on their championship odds at the beginning of the season just so you had that emotional attachment to Dame still if you wanted to hang on to that. Unfortunately, the Bucks are kind of struggling right now, but you can probably get better odds on them to win it all than you could earlier in the season. So you can take advantage of that bonus. You can help out the channel. You can get $25 of free play. That's a bunch of stuff that you can get in on with BetUS. So shout out to them for sponsoring the stream. Just remember to message me on Discord or Twitter if you want that $25 free play. And then we'll take a look at potential lines for playoffs. We'll see if they're posted later today. If not, we'll view those later this week.
Yeah, and real quick, so we'll have shows on this channel, right? Our Blazers Uprise Live's moving to this channel during the summer off season, and then those shows will be Monday and Thursday evenings. So if you want Blazer content all off season, more live streams every Monday, Thursday throughout the entire off season. We'll be live for the draft. We'll be live for at least the first, if not second day of free agency, and much more. Any trades that go down will of course be live, and then Tori will have all kinds of video content as well. So the real grind of Blazers Uprise starts right now for you, right, Tori?
Well, it started past couple of weeks because I've been prepping videos, and
Yeah.
basically this next week is going to be a grind, a major grind. Got important business stuff. Hopefully, this is the last post game show where I'm at, because got some good business things happening right now, but got some important stuff for that this week. And then just trying to get ahead on videos because I want to actually be able to take a couple weeks off and just stream a couple times a week and have uploads set for a couple weeks. I always talk about getting ahead in the off season. I always struggle to do so, but the player review videos that I'm doing this off season are going to be phenomenal, breaking down footage actually. So stay tuned for those. There's going to be a ton of great videos. I'm giving it my all for the video content this year. Always trying to improve. Always trying to get better, just like basketball teams should, right? So.
Yeah, and speaking of improvement, you brought something up that I want to talk about real quick, and that's the Sacramento Kings going for the playoffs versus potentially setting their rosters better for long-term championship contention. And I feel like the Pelicans also did that a couple years ago when they traded for CJ. And this leads me to the Blazers this offseason, and why I think that's really foolish if they make the decision to try and be on that fringe play-in playoffs picture versus continuing to build this the right way, even if it's painful for another year or two in terms of losses and things like that. I feel like if you try to shortchange a rebuild, it might give you some success right away, but you're kind of taking that success off of what the top end ceiling down the line could be if you just make that your primary focus.
Yeah, it should never be the primary focus. Like, do we think either of those teams is going to have a serious chance to win a championship before their next rebuild when they completely reshuffle the deck? I feel like neither of those teams do. Now, I could be wrong, right? Of course, you never know what can happen in the NBA, especially with more parity than ever. And at least in the Pelicans' sake, they do have a guy in Zion Williamson that, you know, if he's healthy, he has like a borderline top 15 impact in the league as a player. But the problem is he just can't stay healthy, so we'll see if he can improve that. The problem is they need another top-end guy. Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, like, it's just not enough to get it done. They got some other young, intriguing pieces, but they're just kind of missing something, right? And I feel like a lot of these teams that short-circuit it, they end up missing something where they're just not able to fully contend because they don't have an SGA, they don't have an Anthony Edwards, they don't have a Nikola Jokic, right? Those are the top three teams in the West for a reason. It's because of those three guys, plus good complementary pieces. Of course, the Thunder got Chet this year. The Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon fits in really well. Minnesota, Gobert, Towns, etc. Jalen McDaniels is a really good defender. Jaden McDaniels, I mixed them up. And then the Clippers are the 4th seed. You got Kawhi, you got PG, you got Harden. Like, Dallas is the 5th seed. You got Luka, you got Kyrie. Phoenix is the 6th seed. You got KD, you got Booker, right? All these teams have guys that are top 10 or top 15. And the two teams that took the biggest leaps this year are the Thunder and the Timberwolves, and they have the top two young superstars in the Western Conference with SGA and Anthony Edwards. You look at the teams below them, right? Like the Lakers, of course, they have LeBron, but he's fading, AD, right? The Pelicans, yeah, they got Zion. He's not in that class, though. The Kings, right? They don't have a guy like that. Their best player is De'Aaron Fox, and he's a borderline top 20 player. The Blazers should not be short-circuiting their rebuild. They shouldn't be of the mindset that they need to win until they know that they have their, like, SGA Anthony Edwards type of young prospect. And maybe that can be Scoot Henderson. I expect big things from Scoot Henderson next year. Maybe that can be Shane Sharp. They got guys that have a chance to be very special, but it's tough to expect them to become as good as Anthony Edwards or SGA. Those guys are special for a reason. So you just got to keep taking chances and swings, and the best way is through the draft, especially next year's draft looks phenomenal, in order to get that type of guy. If we're sitting here with Cooper Flagg and Alex Sarr, I feel a lot more comfortable a couple years from now than if we're sitting here with like Zachary Risachet and some role player that we get with a 13th pick next year. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're feeling much, much better. And it's been a painful few seasons here, but as long as it's for a reason, I can stay engaged with this basketball team. As long as it's for a reason, I can still enjoy post-game shows. Right? I can still enjoy covering the team. I can still enjoy paying attention to the team if it feels like we're building towards some bigger goal. And this offseason, we're going to figure out how dedicated the Blazers are to building towards that bigger goal of ultimately winning a championship. Okay? Because if they short-circuit it, I don't think they're doing so. There's a lot of people that will be okay with it because they're tired of tanking, and I fully understand being exhausted from seasons like this, where it's 21-61 on the year. But ultimately, we all want to see this team contend. We all want to have fun watching this team. It's always fun to watch a winner. It's always fun to watch players that can dunk on people, post highlights, right? Like, get fans out of their seats. I want the atmosphere inside Moda Center to be electric again, and it just takes some work, and it takes seasons like this. Mm-hmm. Luckily, the Blazers got third best odds. So they succeeded in that way, right? This season sucked, but it's a good thing for the future. Now they have to have some element of luck in that, but you can only put yourself in the best position to get that luck, and that's what they did.
Yeah. Well, people are mentioning the Rockets in chat, and that's someone who also tried to short circuit, building, because building wasn't working for them. And they don't even make the playoffs this year now. And at the trade deadline, according to Shams, they tried to trade Jalen Green and multiple firsts for Mikal Bridges to shortchange that even more. So those are the exact type of scenarios we don't want. Yeah. If it doesn't work out with your young players, that doesn't mean it wasn't the right move. I still think a lot of what happens with a lot of these teams is they make some bad picks, or picks don't pan out, or they don't mesh well with other players they already have. And then instead of just moving on from those players and then trying it again with a different player, they try to then go back and just be like, well, let's just go all veterans then. And we're just going to sign a bunch of veterans and go for the playoffs or whatever. So I think you just have to have a balance, and it's really critical that you don't have short-sightedness in any of your moves, where you're just thinking about one season at a time. It should always be about building towards a championship, in my opinion. And unfortunately for the Blazers, I don't think that is the mindset of either the ownership or the front office. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But this is exactly why last year the New Orleans Pelicans were very desperate, knowing that they kind of got stuck in this position, and would have, in my opinion, done anything we asked for that third pick had we made that available. Now, I'm not saying we should have or anything, but I'm just saying they got really desperate, knowing that they were going to be kind of stuck in this situation. They didn't know if they could ever count on Zion and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, it'll be it's going to be a fascinating offseason like you've talked about. And I think you've got to keep doing what you believe in is the best for the team long term, not just for next season, just to keep a portion of the fan base happy that probably isn't tuning in for a lot of games anyway. Like us hardcore fans, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, are probably going to tune in whether they do some crappy stuff this offseason or not. So I don't know what the right answer is, but I just feel like it's not trying to make the playoffs next year.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes this ownership group to want to win a championship, but do they have their eyes set on a sale in 3 years once the NBA expands and new TV contracts come in? And I mean, I think it would be easier to sell the team if they were contenders. So there's just a lot of things that go into the mindset of this front office, but they don't think like us. That's the thing. Like, we just like, oh, we want to win a championship someday, right? That's what we want. We want to build towards that. They're thinking dollar signs. They're thinking ticket sales. They're thinking viewership on TV. They're probably thinking of what their next TV deal looks like, right? They're thinking about how much money they're going to make from expansion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's so much that goes into their mindset in terms of running this team that us as fans, rightfully so, don't care about in terms of, what we want. So there is disconnect there. But you do have ownership groups that want to win championships, that are competitive across sports. And if this ownership group isn't one of them, then hopefully down the line we can get one of those. But end of the day, like, draft luck supersedes, is maybe the only thing that can supersede a ownership group / front office that isn't, like, really trying to take their time in terms of building a championship caliber team. Right? Because if you can just draft a star, if you can just draft a stud, if Scoop becomes a superstar, right, like, then you're set. Then they get what they want, and we get what we want, and we're probably a contender. So that's what we have to hope for. The Blazers need to hit on their pick in this year's draft. I know it's not a great draft at the top, but there will be a star taken in the first 5 picks, like somebody who becomes an all-star. And I don't know who exactly that's going to be, but I'm pretty confident that there will be one. So hopefully we get that guy, right? There will be a couple guys taken in the top 5 that I think will be very, very mediocre players. It can completely swing the balance depending on who the Blazers get, if they get the right guy or the wrong guy. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep. And then on top of all this, the Blazers are currently a little over $8 million over the cap if they keep Delano Banton with 16 players and not including their 2 second-round picks. So they also have a situation where, are they going to pay the tax, or what are they going to do to duck it?
Yeah, lots of storylines going into the offseason. The tax is one of them as well. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We've talked a lot about the tax in previous streams. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll just take questions regarding any of the stuff that you guys want to ask us, so we can talk about what we know you guys want us to talk about. So leave your questions in the chat.
So Eric Olson said, because I was mentioning that, or Lubes Dallin said that they're fine. The Rockets are fine. They still have a top 9 pick potentially with the Brooklyn pick. They have multiple young guys that broke out this season, and all that's true. But they did try to trade Jalen Green and that pick back to them. Whether that's true or not, it is true that they were interested in Mikal Bridges, and it makes sense with all their other moves that they tried to go after him. But the thing is, it doesn't matter that it worked out that trade didn't happen. It's the fact that they were willing to possibly do something dumb to shortchange their rebuild. And yes, you can get dumb luck and have it all work out. Like, Scoot Henderson, like the Blazers end up with the 3rd pick or whatever. But, like, if we tank last year and end up with the 7th pick or whatever, like, are we sitting here talking about, like, as good of a position as we're in? You know what I mean? We're in a really bad position then. Yeah. So, like, some of it comes down to luck. So, like, it doesn't really matter. It's just the mindset of always thinking of doing it a certain way when that's the opposite way you should be thinking, in my opinion, is the problem, not necessarily the results from those. Because you're going to have situations where you do everything right and it doesn't work out for you. Look at the process Sixers, right? They had the worst record in the league and several of those years didn't even get the first pick. And some of those drafts, there was clear-cut top picks and stuff, and they end up just outside of those picks. But then it works out. Like, they were so mad the Joel Embiid year that they got 3rd. Was that Jabari Parker and Andrew Wiggins? That was like the 1-2 prize, and anything after that was considered unlucky or whatever. And they had the worst record, end up 3rd. They were so mad, but they end up with the best player by far from that draft after waiting and being patient. So, like, all this stuff, it's not necessarily that you did the right thing or there's one right way to do it. It's just, I mean, you have to constantly be putting yourself in the best position to have it all work out. Like the Thunder are the ultimate example of just having so many assets that they could go any possible route they wanted to go these last few years. And it's very hard to mess that up, in my opinion, as long as you find that star, which they have. But you want to try to give yourself as many opportunities to hit home runs or to make good decisions as possible, not just put yourself in a situation where you need something to work out in order for the rest of your stuff to work out right.
Yep. Shout out to Isaac Figueroa, member for 9 months, says, support you guys. The Scoot really our future. Thank you, Isaac. I think we'll have a much better answer for that question at the end of next year. I think next year is going to be huge for Scoot one way or another, and I think he's going to break out. I'm expecting big things from Scoot next year. Thank you for being a channel member. And with everything you said, somebody asked, what's the ideal offseason, right? For me, like, my ideal offseason is we get Alex Sarr with our pick. We get Salon with the Warriors pick.
Yeah, two high upside guys.
Yeah, like, and maybe it's, if we don't move up, then Booz Atlas, right? Like, you adjust expectations depending on where our picks are. But, like, that's the idealistic combination for me. And then we trade Brogdon for just a late first, and then we trade Grant and get, like, at least a first and an asset. Maybe it's another first, maybe it's a young player, right? And we shed salary that way. And then also, anything we can get back for Thibault. I think those three guys being traded, getting Sarr, getting Salon would be ideal. And then you go into next season, you got Scoot, Sharp, Ant, right? And that's your maybe starting point guard, shooting guard, small forward. You got Kamara, backup 3, playing a lot of minutes. Maybe even start him at the 4, but I want to start Sarr there. So Banton's your backup guard, wing type of player. So at point guard, shooting guard, small forward, you'd have 5 players. You'd have Sharp, Scoot, Ant, Kamara, Banton. At the 4, you'd start Sarr next to Ayton and see if what those guys look like defensively, and see if that can help the 3 guards start together. You know what I mean? Like, you can figure out some things from that, and then you play Salon at the back of 4, give him a few minutes. Probably have Robert Williams at third back, see if you can rehabilitate his value and play him off the bench. And then maybe, like, your fringe rotation guy is Jabari Walker or Chris Murray. Probably can't be both, but you do have those guys in the wings in case of injury. And I think that's really a really good offseason to set yourselves up to try and build a contender. You hope that Salon pops. He has upside, but he is a very risky prospect. He has a very low floor, raw prospect, right? So there's a lot of work that needs to be put into him, but he has high upside. Sarr, best player in the draft. And then if you get back a couple of firsts from a Grant and Brogdon trade, stockpile more future firsts, as well as clear the books. Maybe you can even clear enough money to sign someone with the MLE, probably not the entire thing, but a portion. That would be really hard to clear that much money, but in the best case scenario, maybe they could do something like that. Maybe you can sign a veteran to mentor the young guys, to replace Brogdon that doesn't have to play in front of the young guys. That is my idealistic offseason. And then you fire Chauncey and you bring in a new coach, a good coach, whoever that might be. I don't know who that is, but would you say that's an ideal offseason, Eric? Do you agree with everything I said? Do you disagree?
Pretty much right in step with you, and that's why we're going to be disappointed and sad and negative all offseason, right? When we do opposite things. But yeah, swing for home runs in the draft. Whether you keep all 4 picks or not, whatever picks you keep, you swing for upside. Take what you think is the best player, not this next year, but 3-4 years down the road, who you think is the best player in this draft, and you be patient. And then you trade the veterans, like you said. Obviously get in a better tax cap situation moving forward with just basically Ayton and Anthony as your big contracts on the books. And I think that's how you do it. You maybe look into free agency if you have some roster spots at maybe some young guys that haven't gotten an opportunity, like we did with Delano Banton this season, go after players like that to fill out your roster, and just go into next season just planning on letting the young guys play. And if they play well and exceed expectations and are battling for a play-in spot, and you want to make a small move at the deadline to add a piece to help them out, then that's fine. But I don't think you should keep Grant and Thibault and Brogdon and then bring in another veteran small forward or something, or big man or something to right.
Not enough minutes to go around.
I don't think that makes sense at all. So I'm just with whatever moves they make, I'm setting myself up. I'm trying to get as many future assets as possible with those Grant and Brogdon trades, just going from there.
That's part of the reason why they need to trade Grant and Brogdon, is because they're going to have a lot of young guys that need minutes, and with those two guys on the roster and maybe Thibault taking up minutes, you're not going to have enough minutes for the young guys whose development is crucial for this team having a chance down the line to win a championship.
Right. And I think that's important. I mean, we've seen it hasn't been that much worse without Grant in the lineup this last month plus, right? So I would rather just play the young guys and see who you can get. I know we're not quite as good with a player like Grant, but I don't think that matters still. I don't understand why people say that,
If it's like we're keeping Grant no matter what, that's how you kind of know the organization's intentions next season, them being like, we want to try and make a play and not worrying about a championship down the line.
Unfortunately, I think that is the case.
Oh, I will 100% expect it. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not even going to end up being that mad about it because I fully expect it. Like, that is... I would be shocked if they traded Grant. Like, it would be extremely shocking to me. Because they want to be competitive next year. That's just the way it is, and... Brogdon, we'll see how that plays out.
So in my opinion, going back to that message, whether we need Scoot or not to become that guy, or a future, this is... I'm not trying to knock any guy, so don't take this the wrong way. But just in terms of our future, if you could pick one of the two between Scoot and Sharp to be guaranteed a star and the other one isn't, I'm probably picking Sharp because I feel like he, as a bigger player, could fit. We already have a guy who can handle the ball. So I don't. It's a tough decision. It's close, but
I'd have a counterpoint for that.
Yeah.
If Scoot's a star, then I feel like he could make Sharp better. Where if Sharp's not a star, like Scoot, if he's a star, I feel like he'll be able to free up Shaedon, throw lobs to him, push and transition, get him out and running. I feel like a star version of Scoot makes a role player of Shaedon better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's interesting.
Yeah. I do see what you're saying. And Anthony can play off ball or whatever if you still have him. I'm just thinking more along the lines of if you had...
They need someone in the front court. They need someone in the front court. They need a front court star. They don't have that right now. That is something they need to get. If they can get that, then they're going to be in a much better position to ultimately contend. If they don't get that, they're going to struggle, even if Sharp becomes a star, in my opinion.
Yeah. But my thing is with that, so I don't necessarily think it's critical that Scoot is the future, as long as one of those two is the future, is the point I was trying to make. I mean, obviously, you want both of them to be stars, and then we're set, right? Which is still possible. But I don't think it's as critical as we thought it would be that Scoot is a superstar, as long as Anthony continues to get better and Sharp is really freaking good, and we get that front court player you're talking about. I think him just being above average to good is good enough, as long as we get that front court player like you mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, there is no, like, nothing is set in stone where, like, this guy's the future, or this guy's not the future, or this guy has to become a star, this guy doesn't have to become a star. The roster construction is extremely fluid. The only thing that's certain is the Blazers have some okay role players on this roster. That's it. It's not certain that anyone becomes a star. It's not certain that anyone's going to be here 3-4 years from now. It's not certain that the GM, coach, ownership group is going to be here 3 to 4 years from now, right? So it's interesting because they have to plan for 3 to 4 years from now, but there's no certainties that come with that. And that's why I think this offseason is going to be extremely intriguing. I'm excited to make video content about it. I'm excited to talk about it on live streams, is because you have so many different things in play, so many different storylines to watch, where in previous years it was like, okay, how can we get a good enough trade to help Dame win? Which I was on board with that thing, and that's what I was thinking, right? And I wanted to put a winner around Dame, but it was just basically like, who can we go out and get? There's a lot more nuance to this offseason.
Yeah.
In a way. And it's the first legitimate rebuilding offseason, even though the GM won't say it, even though they won't say it, right? They won't say the word rebuild for whatever reason. They're too afraid to say that word. I feel like a lot of fans would respect it if they just came out and said it. But that's why this offseason is super fascinating. That's why I'm super excited to get it underway. I was excited for the season to end more so than any other year, because I'm excited to start seeing how things play out with this offseason.
Yeah, well, that's the part that was always missed, though, with the trade, make a big trade for Dame thing, is the nuance of people are being like, oh, well, that's not enough to win a championship. Yeah, no crap. Like, we always talked about the nuances of having to make follow-up moves and getting these kind of role players around that group or whatever. Case in point, the Jaylen Brown trade last season. Like, how many people told us, oh, we wouldn't have been contenders with Jaylen Brown and Dame and Jeremy Grant and stuff. It's like, well, that's not the only move they would have made. Like, they would have also had to go out and sign some good veterans, minimum contract wise. They would have had to make a couple more trades. Like, even the really good teams that are contenders make trades throughout the seasons and free agent signings and things like that. So there's nuance to every type of offseason. But yeah, I agree. It's just so much more open. There's so many different paths you can go. It's not one direction and winning. It could be short-term winning. It could be long-term winning. It could be a mix of both. It could be just strictly money moves. It could be they don't care about money. Like this offseason is the most unknown we've had in a really long time.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We can take a couple more questions regarding the offseason if you guys wish.
Even the season where we're supposed to have like $60 million in cap space after we traded CJ and stuff like that, we tried to tell you it wasn't going to be as exciting as everyone wanted it to be, right? We're just going to re-sign our own players, and we weren't going to have any money to go out and make huge splashes, and we didn't really. I mean, we made the Grant trade, of course, but that was basically our whole summer was just making that trade and keeping our draft picks. So, yeah, that's it. So even the seasons where we had the ability to be really flexible and maneuver and make a bunch of big moves, we didn't really.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see if inactivity is the name of the game this offseason. Obviously, everything starts with a lottery. It goes lottery, May 12th, draft combine. There's 2 draft nights, and then free agency is like a week after that. I don't expect the Blazers to be a player at all in free agency. I kind of feel like their offseason is over after the second round of the draft concludes, Eric, because they're going to be in the tax, right? So how do they duck it? Now, if they have something lined up where they could trade Brogdon into Philadelphia's cap space, then all of a sudden you can use an MLE and stay below the tax line. Mm-hmm. But the thing is who's going to sign here with a mid-level exception that's going to make sense for this team long term given the amount of okay role players they already have right now. That's why, like, if there's a way to trade Brogdon, Grant, Thibault, get assets back for Brogdon and Grant, more for Grant than Brogdon, but if you can get assets back and find a way to clear enough money by, say, trading Brogdon into a team's cap space, then you can maybe, like, fill in one of those gaps by going out and signing someone with a mid-level exception, where you got assets for somebody like Brogdon, but maybe, if you needed a guard, hypothetically, they don't, but hypothetically, if you needed somebody to replace his role, you could then go sign him. You get the assets and you get the guy to replace him, and at the end of the day, you're up, compared to just sitting here, like, bordering the tax with Brogdon on the roster. Because the mid-level exception is like 10 to 12 million, Brogdon's 22. So you kind of cut that in half, right? Could be somebody at the 4. That's why I think this roster construction should be fluid this offseason and should be something where every vet gets shopped. And I don't think the Blazers should be married to Jabari Walker even, or Chris Murray even. Like, if throwing one of those guys in swings a deal where you get future picks, like, I think that's okay. Not that Jabari Walker hasn't been solid this year. He's a solid role player. Like, he's a fringe rotation player on a decent team. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think the Blazers should be married to that, because it's probably what he'll be, right? It's the whole thing with Nas. Nas goes and is playing for a playoff team right now and can't even, like, get in the game, basically, at all for the Suns, right? But what were we talking about with Nas a year or two before that was like, oh, he has so much potential, and we're really high on him, and if he could ever just put it together, all this stuff. More often than not, after, 3-4 years, prospects kind of are what they are. Like, their trajectory is what their trajectory is going to be. Now, you get guys like Kobe White every now and then. Kobe White is, year 5, and he took off. But
yeah,
just stuff to remember that going into the offseason, for sure.
Yeah. Just reading your chat. I think, that's the difference between Nas, though, and Jabari. I think Nas, would struggle at times, but you always had the hope that he would figure it out.
Yeah, he was more athletic and a better shooter, so yeah.
Or just stay healthy, I guess. But with Jabari, it's like, I mean, if he starts shooting the 3, he's definitely a rotation player, but I don't think he's got like star, like, long-term upside. Like, you had the famous video of Nas has all-star potential, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff.
Alvaro gives some membership, and guess who gets it? It's our moderator, Trevin. Thank you, Alvaro, for gifting a membership. It's kind of funny that out of all the people in here, Trevin, of all people, got it. But now Trevin is both a moderator and a channel member. Since one of our moderators got it, I will give away a membership here in a few minutes.
All right, nice.
Yeah. Just because of Alvi. Alvi coming in with another gifted membership. He did it a couple streams ago, so appreciate you, Alvi. Appreciate you, Alvaro. And Trevin, you better thank him. Okay, because now you're one of us, officially. So, any other things in chat that you wanted to touch upon? Zach, if you got my gifted membership, I would have to gift another one.
One Piece says got in this argument a long time ago with a random that cutting Watford was a big brain move to sign good vets. When was the last time the Blazers got a good vet in free agency? Well, the only one we got recently was Gary Payton, if you want to call that good.
You said good vet.
And that he was injured and we way overpaid for him. So, yeah. Other than that, the other 2 years out of the last 3, we didn't even use our MLE, right? So, yeah. Yep. So we don't do that. I mean, Cronin said on before offseason last year that he was confident in his ability to sign free agents and get people to come here, and Chauncey's recruiting skills and all that. And did we even sign a free agent like nope. Moses Brown?
Yeah, in like August.
Yeah.
We did nothing. We did nothing last offseason. Last offseason was so boring. Like, is the Dame trade request, and then obviously the Dame trade. But like until then, nothing in free agency, nothing trade wise. We literally just drafted players with our picks. That was literally it. We literally did nothing until Dame requests a trade, right? Like he ran from the grind. You had this organization saying they're super excited to push the chips in, right? They're too young, they're too small. They draft a 6'3" guard, and they literally don't even make a minor trade, let alone what they were acting like they were going to do. They did nothing. Like, it was crazy. So hopefully we at least get something, like anything. And then at the deadline, they did nothing as well, except for literally like the biggest transaction that wasn't Dame related in the past calendar year. That wasn't Dame related or drafting a player, right? So I'm talking about signing guys or trading for guys. The biggest transaction was trading nothing for Delano Banton.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, if we're a top 5 team in that year, it was something, I guess.
Yeah. True. All right, let's gift this membership. Let's see who gets it, and then we'll see what we got next. Did I miss Tankathon? We're doing another Tankathon. Max, you did miss it, but we will do another one because the people requested it. Elizabeth Allen gets my gifted membership.
Congrats.
I thought Elizabeth was already a member. All right, I'll do one more. I'll do one more as well. Shout out to Elizabeth for getting the gifted membership. And we'll do one more. Cross your fingers if you're in chat and you want a membership. The letter O. Oh, I love it. The letter O. A Dame fan. Let's go. The letter O gets a gifted membership. You'll love to see it. Alrighty, Eric. I do want to look at Bet US here in a little bit in terms of like playoff matchups and what lines we have for that. Let me actually like look at those before we actually do that segment though, so I can actually see what we got going on. We'll continue to take questions. We'll probably stream another 40 minutes. And then tomorrow, you guys aren't going to want to miss tomorrow's stream because we're going to be reacting to whatever Joe Cronin says in his exit interview. Okay? That stream will be live 9:30 p.m. sometime around then. So you guys don't want to miss that. Shout out to Zach, who gifted a Blazers Uprise membership. That goes to Christopher. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate you. Taylor Packer says, now they can view the watch party from 2 years ago. Let's go. Yeah, we had a watch party from, I think it was longer ago. We had a watch party from the bubble that might have been members only as well. I forget. We did a couple of members only watch parties in the past. So now you guys can see them. Christopher's hyped. You'll love to see it. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, we're going to react to whatever Cronin says tomorrow. Eric, do we already know what he's going to say? Is there anything that would surprise you that he might say?
I know what he's not going to say.
What's he not going to say? Other than the rebuild.
The word rebuild. They will make sure. Oh, let's,
you know what? Go ahead.
Let's guess on what the word of the day will be, though. It's not going to be accountability. It's not going to be development. Yeah. Okay.
Growth.
Yeah.
Like development or a synonym for development. Like, we grew a lot this year. We really like where we're headed. We really liked how we, bounced back from 60-point losses. He won't say the word 60-point loss. He'll just say, we had some struggles, but we're really happy with how we responded to them. Right? He'll sugarcoat that. He'll say, like, in terms, if he gets asked anything about how he wants to build a roster this offseason, it'll be like, he won't word it like this because he doesn't word things like this, but it'll basically be like, we have our sights set towards the future, but also we're interested in building now. Like, it'll be something along those lines that'll be worded in a Joe Cronin way.
He'll just say we're constantly looking to evaluate our roster and make changes based on that evaluation. But so he'll just like say something without saying anything.
Yeah, no, he'll hedge his bets in terms of like, yeah, we're building towards the future, but also we want to win right now. He'll have something along those lines where it's like basically that's a non-answer because what else are you doing if you're not
win right now? So I have my job ahead of me. So be patient with me because I'm young and make mistakes, but I need to make this right now.
Even
but
though he's been here 20
don't be
years,
mad
he's
at me
young.
if I don't because I need time.
Yeah. We're not looking to take a step back. Yes, that's how we'll word it. Shout out to Cam. We're not looking to take a step back. That's how we worded the deadline. We're not looking to take a step back. We want to build towards the future, but we're not taking a step back. Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
There will definitely be some talk about how once again this year injuries messed with the evaluation process and how
you're always going to have injuries, you bozo.
With the injuries, it made it difficult to see what we really had.
Yeah, dude, I'm already getting mad, Eric. I hate that. I hate that. So, like, oh, we weren't perfectly healthy, so we couldn't figure out how good we would be all season if we were perfectly healthy. Like, you're always gonna have injuries. Guess what? You bring in injury-prone players, they're gonna get injured. Like, man, we couldn't evaluate our roster because Robert Williams III got hurt. Guess what? Evaluating your roster with Robert Williams III hurt, unfortunately, is a more legitimate evaluation than evaluating your roster with him healthy. I wish that wasn't the case, but it's true. So,
just like Justice Winslow, right? When he got hurt.
Yeah, where's he at now?
He was on the Raptors.
He was a key piece, like win now piece, right? Like, anyway. It's going to be interesting. Tomorrow's stream, you don't want to miss it, right here on the main channel. And then we're doing some podcast stuff on the second channel still during the off-season, so we'll still be uploading there, just not Blazers Uprise Live, just not our off-season live stream. Shout out to Christopher with the $2 donation. Says, Zach Landia is my MVP. Welcome back, Eric. Yeah, this is the first time I've done like a normal stream, post-game stream with you being here from the start since April 5th? The Celtics game I didn't do, you lagged out.
Yeah.
The Pelicans game you weren't here for. The Warriors game you were in Vegas, and then last game against the Rockets you showed up halfway through because you just got back from Vegas. So kind of weird. That's 4 games in a row where it was a little different. So yeah, welcome back. Welcome back for the last one.
Thanks.
Yeah. Rich is fluent in Cronanese. I like that. Cronanese, Eric. Cronanese.
Yes.
We can do another Tankathon. We can look at BetUS. If you guys have any other questions, leave it in the comment section. Leave it in the chat. We'll give you guys another minute to ask. Anything else you want to ask. Otherwise, we're going to... Oh, my goodness. Otherwise, we're going to go look at playing game spread lines. That's what we have up on BetUS right now. Playing game spread lines. So 4 playing games. They're going to be good playing games. We'll take a look at picks, and we'll pick that. Once again, shout out to chat for winning picks against the spread. This year, groupthink won out, unfortunately. I finished exactly 500, Eric. Exactly 500. 193 and 193. Which is kind of funny. You're muted, by the way.
I did not. Good job, though.
Yeah, it was a rough second half of the year for me, man. Rough second half of the year. I had that day where I was like 13-2, and I was like, oh, I can make a comeback. And then I botched it the day after. So, yeah, today in picks, the best record was 503 was 11-5. Steven and Chase, one game back at chat going into the day, were both 5-11. Chat 8-8. So they had a chance to steal it. But nope, it's chat. It's chat. So I'll give away a couple memberships tomorrow. Okay, we'll do some stuff tomorrow. I also have something I'm going to debut tomorrow. And then chat, I have to think about how we're going to do the $100 worth of giveaway stuff and how we're going to distribute that. I'm going to do it for people that showed up to picks all season long. So that's going to take a little bit of time to figure out, but just stay tuned for that. Tori too scared to post the final record. Has anyone won more seasons than Chat? Me and Chat tied. Chat and I tied 2 years ago, and then last year Eric won, and then Chat won this year, so... And the year before that, it was like just me, Eric, Chat. It's fun to go back and look at old streams, man. Especially old pick streams when it was just me, you, and Chat. Those were the days. Now I'm like compiling picks from like up to 9 different people. Chat is unbeatable. Yeah, good job, Chat. The whole free agency class is very meh as far as just outright free agents, unfortunately. At the top or in terms of like role players? The thing is, we have to make multiple moves to even make it make sense to sign anyone.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sucks. It's kind of boring. You know what I mean? Like, but at least we go into free agency day knowing we're just like hanging out and not stressing, I guess, and just it is what it is. Draft night's gonna be the night. Both of those draft nights.
Yes.
The other thing I forgot to mention. What's funny is the Blazers have the Hornets' second-round pick. The Blazers tied with the Hornets. Okay, so that coin flip should also decide... Wait, so isn't it, Eric, where if two teams are tied, they do a coin flip for like 3 and 4, right? And then the team that wins that coin flip loses it in the second round?
Isn't
that how they do it?
I know the NFL does it that way. It like goes reverse then in the next round, but I don't think the NBA does it that way. I think it's just...
do. I'll have to look it up. Let me look that up right now.
Avar Bazan with the member for 7 months message says, L season still past 10K subs. The future is bright.
Yeah, we passed 10K subs this year. That was an accomplishment I'm very happy with. We pushed towards that for a while. Happy to finally have that in the rearview mirror. So appreciate you guys for that. Yeah. Thank you, Alvaro. Appreciate you, bro. Okay, let me see if I can find like just specific wording on.
That is not true, Colt. They do a coin flip for any ties. Go back to the beginning of the show if you want a further explanation.
Lottery teams don't get... I'm reading Reddit. Lottery teams don't get tiebreakers pre-lottery? Well, unless it's just the ping pong ball. I don't know. Chat, if you can help me find something regarding how exactly the NBA does its tiebreakers for draft picks. I legitimately think, Eric, if I recall correctly, it's if the Blazers and Hornets each had their first and second round picks, right? If the Blazers won the coin flip for the first round, the Blazers pick would be 3, Hornets 4. And then the second round, the Hornets pick would be ahead of the Blazers. If that's the case, it's actually interesting because the Blazers don't have their own pick. They have the Hornets pick. So, if it works like that,
Would it be doubly good or doubly bad?
Doubly good or doubly bad.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Which is very weird. I don't know if that's ever happened before like that. So right now, the Blazers would have the 33rd pick. That would be 33rd or 34th. And then they also have the 40th pick from the Hawks, right? Because if the Hawks play their way into the play-in, or into the playoffs, their second-round pick doesn't change, correct?
Once again, I'm not sure about second round. All I know, my knowledge is about the first round.
Yeah, so the Blazers right now, 33rd and 40th picks. That 33rd pick, Eric, there's one guy I'm really hoping falls to that pick that could fall to that pick, and that is Jalen Tyson. Because I'm looking at Tankathon. They have him locked at 34. If he's sitting there at 33, I'm begging the Blazers to draft him. Oh, that would be so hype. That'd be so hype. Yeah, you went to the Hoop Summit last night. Saw your boy Chomchi. They didn't pass him the ball at all.
I didn't go. I just watched on TV.
Oh, I thought you went. Oh, got you. They didn't pass him the ball at all. He had like a nice pass and a finish, but that was it.
Yeah.
I feel like legitimately didn't learn anything new about him at all.
Yeah, some people that were there covering practices said that the main takeaway, I saw one in particular said the main takeaway of this week was that Chomsky can pass.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get to see that much, but we know he has averaged over 3 assists a game this year in limited games. But
yeah, if he enters this year's draft, I can't put him in the lottery. I just can't, just because it's just there's like very little on him. There's very little on him. Like if I'm gonna put somebody in the lottery, like it's gonna be based on some sort of substance. And if he came out and dominated Hoop Summit, maybe that would have swayed me a little bit. But he's an intriguing prospect. It's just tough for me to put him lottery given the lack of substance.
yeah, well, I mean, all the other guys in that game are used to going on these AAU tournament circuits and big game, McDonald's All-American, that kind of stuff. And this is one of the first ones of these games for Chomsky. So
yeah, but I mean that doesn't help me put him in the lottery. You know what I mean?
no, I'm just saying, like, I wasn't expecting him to go out and take over the game or anything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he legitimately just needs to go to college for a year. Or play somewhere professionally where he'll get minutes. The NBL kind of iffy, right? I want to see him go the college route. Ivicic, it sounds like he's going to transfer. So I want to see Ivicic go to a place where he can actually be a focal point of the offense and see what that looks like. Chomsky, I want to see him go to somewhere where he can start. There's probably a lot of places he can start, right? That would be intriguing next year. College basketball is going to be phenomenal next year with a loaded draft class. But then, like, if you get Chomsky, Ivicic in college, like, those guys are guys to watch that aren't in this year's high school class. Traore, who dominated the Hoop Summit last night, he might go to Gonzaga. I'm hoping Gonzaga gets him. He looks like a Gonzaga player, bro. Like, the way he plays is very Gonzaga-like. So, could have some really good international prospects next year in college. But next year's draft is... Dude, I'm already super excited for next year's draft. I know it's over a year away, but next year's draft is going to be a lot of fun.
And the 2026 draft with Devonta, man, that guy, he looked amazing. Someone asked, or Tyler asked, were there other Hoop Summit prospects for this year's draft? Chomsky is the only one last night who is even eligible for this year. Hasn't announced whether he's going to or not, but all the rest of them are either next year or, in the case of Diamante, 2 years away.
Yep. Anyway, let's take a look at spread lines for playing games.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live bet.
Make sure that doesn't play. Okay. All right. So, like I said, post-game show brought to you by BetUS. Shout out to them for sponsoring us all season long. Been a huge supporter of the channel. And also part of the reason why Blazers Uprise Live will be on the main channel. So our sponsors help us out a ton. So if you're interested in this type of stuff, make sure to use them. Link in the description box below. Promo code JOIN125. They have 24/7 customer service and 24-hour payouts. They're a good sports book. Here is the lines, Eric, for the playing games. Right now, they're all close, of course, because these teams finish close in the standings. Okay. On Tuesday, you have the Western Conference playing games. You have the Lakers on the road against the Pelicans. That's a pick'em. That's a pick'em. I'll do chat polls in chat. This will be a little like abridged version of picks against the spread in a way. Eric, in that pick'em, who do you got basically to win that game?
I'm taking the Lakers. Blew them out today. I don't trust the Pelicans in big games, big moments.
Although they have played their way into the playoffs, winning 2 games in a row to break our hearts in the past.
Well, that is true. Yeah, they got really lucky that time. So
yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling the Pelicans are going to come back and be mad that they're even in the play-in. They're going to be at home. That crowd's going to be amped up. Like, I'm taking the Pelicans. I'm taking the home team there in the pick'em. I feel like Zion's going to have a good game. CJ's been playing well lately. Brandon Ingram, did he even play today? He was
supposed to play. Yeah, I think he ended up playing a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
So if they can get him back for more minutes next game, that'll give him a better shot. I'm actually taking the Pelicans. Chat, you can vote in the chat poll who you think is going to win that game. And it's pretty 50-50. I mean, I guess it can end as a tie because it's not actually picks. But 50-50 Lakers-Pelicans for chat. So this is going to be a fun matchup for sure. And then the second game is the Sacramento Kings hosting the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are actually 2-point road favorites, Eric. We're obviously rooting for the Kings in this game. But
yeah, once
who would
again,
you take on the spread line?
I do not trust the Kings, so I'm taking the Warriors.
Why don't you trust the Kings?
I mean, they haven't impressed me all season long. Just don't think they're that good this year. I don't know.
Why do you think they're not as good as they were last year?
Well, Herter and Monk being hurt towards the end of the season definitely doesn't help. But I think you just had a case where last season was perfect in terms of them being healthy and the rest of the West being all kind of beating each other up. And I think you saw that again this year, but just the difference between winning a couple of close games. Fox won Clutch Player of the Year last year, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And so they won a lot of close games. That's not necessarily something that's sustainable. So I think that's just a case where they just happen to win, go get a little bit of luck helping them out, get up high in the standings in terms of other teams with injuries and things like that. Teams like Portland just giving up on the season. But I think the West, top to bottom, was a lot tougher this year in terms of no real easy outs at all. And I think it's just harder to be an average type team that has success when that happens.
Yeah, I also think the Warriors win this game, to be honest, if I'm thinking with my head and not my heart. Chat, 57% agree, 42% went Kings. I'm taking Warriors on the spread line. These polls are for the spread line, so Golden State, 2-point favorites. If you got Golden State, you think they win by more than that. The next game is the Chicago Bulls hosting the Atlanta Hawks. And the Bulls are the first home favorite. This is on Wednesday. The Eastern Conference playing games on Wednesday. The Bulls hosting the Hawks. And the Bulls are 3-point home favorites. This is interesting because the Hawks have had some decent wins. They beat the Celtics twice. They've been playing better lately without Trae Young. Now Trae Young is back. He's the best player on the floor in this game. I think this is going to be a really close game. I think this is going to be a fun game simply because it's a close playing game, right? Do or die elimination game with it being a 9-10 play-in. I'm taking the Hawks in the points just because they have the best player. They've been playing decent basketball lately. The Bulls, I just don't trust them. They do have the experience with a guy like DeMar DeRozan, but Trae Young's been in multiple playoff series and in Eastern Conference Finals before, so I'm taking the Hawks as 3-point underdogs. What are you taking, Eric?
I'm going to take the Bulls. Watched that Knicks-Bulls game today. Was impressed with the way they played. DeRozan just missed a couple of shots that would have won it for them. And, so I think they've had a kind of an up-and-down season, but I think they're, in terms of a playing matchup, have a really good chance here.
Chat agrees with you. 67% of the votes for the Chicago Bulls. And then you got the Sixers hosting the Heat, and the Sixers are the biggest favorite of the first 4 playing games. They're 4.5-point home favorites against the Heat. Eric, man, that's a pretty sizable spread for a playing game, and the Heat, you know, they have postseason success. Sixers with Embiid back. Who are you taking in that one?
Man, that one's tough. I think I just take the points, but I think 76ers could roll them. That's tough. But yeah, I'll just take the points, I guess.
Yeah, the Heat, I don't know. I always bet against the Heat, like, oh, they're not going to do it again this year, and then they do it again.
Yeah.
So it's tough in a game like this, but they didn't play too great in the play-ins last year, right? They almost missed the playoffs last year, which is crazy because then they end up in the finals.
So you're getting points too.
Yeah, but the Sixers at home, man. The Sixers at home. You got Embiid. You got Maxey. You could make a case that Maxey is at this point better than maybe anyone on the Heat. Like, I know Jimmy Butler's good, but this year, was he as good as Maxey? I would probably actually say Butler's still better than Maxey, but Maxey's pushing him. Butler 21 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 50% from the field, 41% from three. He had an uptick in three-point shooting in the past couple years, but he only shoots 2.5 a game, right? Meanwhile, you got Maxey, who broke out this year, is probably going to win Most Improved, although I don't agree with it. 26 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 45% from the field, 37% from three. So I like to side with, in like single games, playing games, I like to side with the team with the best player or the best couple of guys. And especially if that team's playing at home, I like the Sixers in this one. I think they win by 7 to 10 points.
All right.
Chat, 73% of the vote goes Sixers. But yeah, it's hard to bet against Miami. I think Miami loses this game and then beats the Hawks or the Bulls. But if you want in on any of this action, make sure to check out BetUS, as they got these spread lines you see on the screen here that you can get in on. If you use promo code JOIN125, you get 3 125% deposit bonuses up to $2,500. So if you deposit $100, you get $125 on top of that. That's $225 with just a $100 deposit. And you can get in on the NBA playoff action. You can have some fun with the playoffs because they're here. They're here. At least the planes are here. So we'll take a look at picks for future playoff games, playoff series, whatever they got over here on BetUS for us. And then if you sign up for BetUS, make sure you use that link in the description because it helps out the channel. It's a great way to support us. And then let me know if you want $25 of free play. DM me on Twitter or message me on Discord. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the postgame stream. Anything else? Oh, we're going to do another Tankathon sim, huh? You want to do that right now?
Yeah, let's do that. Give the people what they want.
Yeah, if you guys didn't tune in earlier, this was our results. The Blazers moved down 2 spots. As we said earlier, the calculation in terms of like consuming the draft lottery as a Blazer fan has changed with the Blazers being up here at 3. We have to see the tiebreaker between them and Charlotte, because if they lose the tiebreaker and they're 4, then if like one team moves up, then you're expecting Portland at 5 instead of Charlotte, right? If 2 teams move up, then you're expecting Portland at 6 instead of Charlotte. Basically, if Portland's 3, it's probably something where we're not any lower than 5. I can actually show you guys this. We didn't do this earlier, but we can actually look at pick odds for the Blazers, right? So these odds aren't going to change with the tiebreaker other than like a minuscule percentage. So this is current odds with ties included. I guess the odds would change for this, like, because it's evened out between Portland and Charlotte, right? So this, if Portland wins the tiebreaker, this percentage I think is going to be lower, and this percentage I think is going to be higher. I don't know. Percentages look a little weird, but basically this is how it shakes out. Most likely scenario is Portland's top 5, right? They basically have based on these percentages, they have a 65.5% chance at being top 5, right? So they also have a 26.2% chance of being the top 2, and that's Alex Sarr territory. I think there's about a 25% chance we get Sarr, Eric.
And in either scenario, the highest one pick percentage is 6th. Up from 7th the last couple of years, right?
Yeah. The thing is that we always have to remember about this. Yes, this is the most likely scenario if you're just guessing at one pick, but it's much more likely that they end up in this range. Falling to 7 would be so sad. I mean, if they win the tiebreaker, the odds they fall to 7 has to be minuscule, right? Like, because that would mean 4 teams moving up.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be lower than this. So don't really know how the coin flip tiebreaker with Portland and Charlotte changes these percentages, but I don't think those are fully correct based on that. But they're a good ballpark estimate. So Portland right now, roughly 50% chance of top 4, which is crazy, and almost maximize their odds for the number 1 pick. Man, it'd be sick if they got the number 1 pick and then took Donovan Clingan. Anyway, let's simulate this thing.
Yeah.
If you want more thoughts on it, we talked about it earlier. Let's see if we get better luck than later when we got the 5th pick. At 14, Portland gets Golden State's pick. At 13, Sacramento. At 12, OKC via Houston. At 11, Chicago. At 10, Atlanta. At 9 is Houston via Brooklyn. So far, so good. At 8 is Utah. So far, really good. At 7 is the San Antonio Spurs getting the Raptors pick. So the Raptors get screwed again, and the Grizzlies move up into the top 4 again. This is just like the last simulation.
Great.
Hopefully we're not 5, though. At 6 is the San Antonio Spurs. They get 6 and 7, Eric.
All right.
They get 6 and 7. And at 5 is the Charlotte Hornets, which means your Portland Trailblazers remain in the top 4. We can't say moved up into the top 4 anymore, Eric. Remained in the top 4.
So we got us, the Wizards, Memphis, and Detroit.
Yep. I'm probably going to make that mistake multiple times over the next couple of months where I say, yay, we moved up into the top 4 in the Tankathon Sim, even though we're already technically top 4. But we'll see how high we get. At 4 is the Memphis Grizzlies. At 3 is the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
So it's us in Detroit, and Detroit I think is one of the most likely teams to take Ricochet. So I'm really happy already if this is the case. Obviously want to be number 1, but I am happy being top 2 with Detroit for our chances to get Alex Sarr. At 2 is Portland, and at 1 is Detroit.
No.
I'll play the soundboard just because we didn't get number 1. No! Anyway. Also. Oh, no, that one was muted. Okay. 2, yeah. Who's the number 1 team you want in front of Portland if they're at 2, Eric? Is it Detroit?
I don't necessarily think Detroit knows what the heck they're doing, so I don't think they would. And Ricochet's been so bad lately that I don't know if he's even going to be in the talks for number 1. So I don't know if it's Detroit.
Well, who else would go above Sarr then?
Maybe Topic has been out of the picture because he was hurt, but
Topic
maybe
is less likely than Ricochet.
Clingan. I don't know, man. That's so hard.
I still think it's Ricochet. Like, teams love that archetype. I think the team most likely to take Ricochet ahead of Portland is either Memphis or Detroit.
Yeah. Like Taylor says, Detroit usually goes pretty consensus on a lot of their picks. They don't really... Like, if it was Toronto, I would... I would like Sarr for them, but I also would have no clue what they would do,
Honestly, if Toronto was one, I'd probably put some money down on Buzelis being the number 1 pick because you can get really good odds on that on BetUS.
Yeah.
Because they seem like the type of team to take a Buzelis. I mean, if Sarr goes 1 here, Eric, I'm extremely scared and worried. Because the 2 players that are getting a lot of buzz right now, or have gotten buzz earlier in the season that I'd be scared for us to take, Donovan Clingan. Imagine Donovan Clingan at 2. Donovan Clingan or Zachary Ricochet. We probably go Ricochet. Gavoni is tight with Schmitz. He had us mocked to take Chris Murray last year, right? And then we did. And he's been super high on Ricochet, has him as the number 1 pick. So I feel like if we don't get Sar and we're picking at 2 and Sar goes 1, we're getting Zachary Ricochet, Eric.
Yeah, maybe. But that's
he's like a mega bust.
That's what I was talking about earlier, that I'd almost rather be 5 than have this.
Yeah, man. Like, that's where the
if Clay
draft
and
starts.
Ricochet go 2 and 3, then yeah, like we're getting someone really good at 5. I think that's better than 2 and 3. So,
like, if it's not Ricochet, I am so fascinated to know what Portland would pick here.
I mean, maybe they surprise you and just take Bozelis or Holland
or Reed Shepard. I mean, like, I don't want Toppich. I don't want Ricochet. I don't want Klingon. I don't want Shepard. Dillingham at 2, like, I'd rather take a forward. Okay? Like, legitimately, the guys that I would be considering, is funny, on this Take-A-Thon mock draft, aren't in the top 7. It would literally be him, and maybe you could talk me into him if he measures well. That's Buzelis, Williams, Holland, Castle.
Yeah.
Castle, I think, could be like, if you're going for a role... Here's the thing. I'd rather have Castle than Ricochet. If you're going for a role player, go with the guy that you know will be a good defender and can pass and can handle a little bit. And you just hope you can figure out his three-point shot, rather than trying to teach Ricochet all those other things. So...
Just one.
Ricochet doesn't project as like an elite three-point shooter at all. He's trailed off. He was like a 45% 3 weeks ago. Doesn't have his game log. But now he's below 39. Free throw percentage below 70. This dude plays 23 minutes a game, averages 1 assist, 1.5 turnovers. He has, like, in my opinion, no creation potential. He's not even a particularly good rebounder for a 6'9 guy. Per 36, 5 rebounds. That's what we need next to Jeremy Grant. I just do not get it. I don't think he's a top 10 prospect. I don't understand the Ricochet love. I haven't understood it all season long. He's not a top 10 prospect to me, and it's just crazy how he's talked about like a number 1 pick. Chat, do you guys agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. Let me know. I will say this, Eric. I am starting to like Tyler Kolek a lot as a prospect. Not for the Blazers, but in general. Just rewatching some of his tape, I just have a feeling he's going to be like a borderline NBA starter point guard, like maybe a decent starter. I know you're super low on him, but I like him.
Nice.
39% from 3, over 8 assists a game. Shifty, crafty, good feel. Like, I like his game.
Yeah, I like his passing. That's pretty much the only thing I like.
I just think he'll be a guy that hits floaters, hits threes, passes well. Like, that's a first-round prospect, right?
Yeah, I just don't think he has a quick enough first step to get to his floater that much in the NBA. But
I think he does. I'm not too worried about his first step. He has a quick trigger on his three. He's going to have to play a lot off hangs and hesitations. He's going to have to set up his defender for drives. But I think he's going to be capable of doing that. So I have him like borderline top 20. I really like this draft 20 through like 35, 36, 37.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy the Blazers got a pick here. I hope they use this pick. There's going to be somebody here that I'm begging for them to draft. Even if it's a guy like Dylan Jones, who I've soured on him a little bit just because I don't know how he's going to translate, but he's really intriguing. 20, 10, and 5. Like Jalen Tyson, Salas. I know he's a guard, but Salas would be great value there. Justin Edwards would be intriguing there. I wouldn't even hate a pick like Harrison Ingram there. Yeah.
Little Axel says trade up to get Sar. Yeah, I would trade 2 and 14 for 1 in this scenario. That's the only way we could get Sar.
Yeah, I don't think the Blazers would, though.
I don't think they would, but...
Well, maybe they would because they'd save money.
A little bit. not a lot.
Yeah. Like
Not
one in a
enough to
second.
gather the text.
Yeah. I mean, just please no Filipowski at 14. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Anyway.
Or Edie.
Or Edie. Oh my god. I would maybe rather have Edie than Filipowski at 14, not gonna lie. Filipowski, I don't get it. Watch, because if we get Filipowski at 14, I'm gonna be like, and then he's gonna be decent, which I guess is. But if I like the pick, then he's gonna suck. Is how I feel with Filipowski. I don't know. He's hard to project for me. I'm overthinking it. But I want to do more fun draft content with like mock drafts with maybe just me, more than just me and Eric. I want to try and just be creative this offseason with content regarding draft stuff. So if you guys have any ideas, always feel free to hit us up if you have any content ideas. But definitely going to try and be a little bit more creative with draft content this offseason. So anyway, we'll take a couple final questions from chat, and then we'll give a shout out to Manta.
Superbad says, does it make sense to trade Simons or Scoot next year, or can it wait longer? I don't think any of those decisions have to be made anytime soon. I think you still need more information on it.
Yep, 100% agree with that. You know what else we got to do? We got to prep for the mock off season.
Yeah.
Got to put together sheets for that. Arrow was helpful last year. He's going to be helpful again.
We are 4 weeks away from the lotto, and that's usually when we start, right?
Yep. Yeah, so if you guys want to participate in our mock off season, join our Discord. Participate in our Discord. I always value people that are active in our Discord community. It's been a little quiet in there lately, given how bad this team is, but join our Discord. Talk with people in there. Talk with us in there. Trying to revitalize that a little bit this offseason. I want to do a couple of things with that this offseason. So that's the way that you can increase your chances for being able to run one of 30 teams through a mock offseason. Me and Eric each run a team. We already have multiple people like decided that have participated in the past, but we need people that are active. And we know you're going to be active if you go participate in our Discord. So there's a link in the description box below. If you have any questions about what the mock off season is, feel free to ask in chat. But we'll cover some of the deals that go down in that. That should be, dude, the mock off season should be a lot of fun this year too, Eric. Like I'm looking forward to it this year, especially with whoever gets the Blazers. What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's always a lot of fun. So anyway, this post-game show is brought to you by our friends over at Manta Sleep Mask. Shout out to them for sponsoring us all season long. You can get a good night's rest with a Manta Sleep Mask, as they have multiple sleep masks to fit your needs. Getting a good night's sleep is very important for your overall health, both physically and mentally, and they're trying to help you out. They got you covered with the Manta Sound Mask that has Bluetooth speakers, or the Manta Pro Mask if you want something a little simpler. They also have sleep masks if you have kids. They have cooling and steam cups, especially as we head into the summer months. The cooling cups are a must-get, especially if you don't have AC. So you can check out Manta Sleep Mask with our link in the description box below. Use promo code Uprise for 10% off your Manta Sleep Mask purchase. That helps out the channel, and you can get one of their many sleep masks. They're adjustable. They are comfortable. I use one myself, and I know a lot of people that bought sleep masks over the Christmas months, over December, November, December, and everybody that's bought one says they like it. So you can go check them out. You can check out their products over at mantasleep.com, link in description. They also have other sleep aids in case you're interested in them, such as travel pillow, blue light glasses, blackout stickers, earplugs, nap arc, etc. So shout out to Manta Sleep Mask for sponsoring this post-game show and sponsoring us all season long. Eric, man, it's another season done. What season was this for us?
1920, 21, 22. Fifth season.
Fifth season. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We're going on season 6 next year. It feels like this season flew by more than any other, I feel like. Do you feel that way as well?
Yeah.
Chat, do you feel that way as well? Like, something about it just being like a tanking year all season long just made it fly by. It's crazy how that happened.
Hey, I saw Tankathon did their first official lottery simulation of the regular after the regular season.
Oh, did they on their Twitter account?
Yep.
Where did we get?
We got number 1, Tori.
Let's go. Let's go. You love to see it. You love to see it. Yeah, we'll do another like in-person lottery stream. I know I had my reservations about that because it was super stressful setting all that up, but it was a lot of fun. And that stream popped off. We had like 2,500 people. I don't think it'll be quite that dramatic because there's no Wemby, but you know, it's always fun to have big streams like that. So, I want to try and find a restaurant sponsor to like host stuff like that at. But if you know anybody that runs a restaurant or know any restaurant suggestions, I would love to get a place in the Portland area as a sponsor that can host some meetup stuff like that, watch parties next year, draft lottery, etc. That would be awesome. Press conference start tomorrow. Exit interviews 9 a.m. We'll recap them at 9 p.m. We'll go live between 9 and 9:30 p.m. tomorrow. We'll also have a content trailer up tonight for the off season. I'm gonna work on that right after the stream. And yeah, man, another season gone. The Blazers 21-61. We're going to have a lot of content reviewing the season over the rest of April, and then we'll get into a lot of off-season stuff in May. Do you have any final thoughts on this wacky tanking season?
It's always bittersweet when the season comes to an end, but I'm happy we don't have to talk about this turd of a season anymore. We can move on to the stuff you and I both enjoy talking about a lot more.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to the off season, and really looking forward to interacting with all of you throughout the off season. So I hope you're along for the ride.
Yep. Join us tomorrow night, Blazers Uprise Live, right here on the main channel, and that should be a fun one as we talk about whatever Joe Cronin talks about. And daily videos start today with the content trailer tomorrow. I'll have a mailbag. I'm posting a mailbag prompt in the community tab right after the stream as well. So you can go ask your mailbag questions on that. I'm just doing a simple, easy mailbag video tomorrow. So if you have any questions that we didn't get to, or that you just thought of, or if you're watching this back after we're live and you have a question for me, check out the mailbag prompt in the community tab. You simply just go to the channel page and then go to where it says community, and you can go ask a question on that. I will post that prompt right now. I'll post that right now. So, if you have any final things, Eric, while I post this.
Thanks everyone for tuning in all season. Appreciate you all. Hope to see you all tomorrow night. Should be a fun stream. It always is fun to recap what idiotic things or contradictions get said in these press conferences. And so hope to see you guys tomorrow night.
We'll have to make Rich proud with our breakdown of it because he is one of a kind when it comes to that. Anyway, there's the link for the mailbag prompt, the community tab link. You can go there. Anyway, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us, tuning in for postgame shows all season long, watching videos, hanging around with us despite this team being pretty miserable. But hopefully they're going to take steps this offseason towards a brighter future, and we're going to have that coverage every step along the way. We're going to do our best to make our off-season content as fun and as engaging and as insightful as possible. Everything that we've always strived to be with this channel. So we appreciate all of you. Thank you to everyone who's a channel member. Thank you to Alvaro for gifting a membership. Thank you to Zach for gifting a membership today. Thank you to Smog for that $10 donation earlier, as well as Christopher for his. All that stuff means a ton to us in a year like this. And we got ringtone as I do my season outro. Anyway, we'll see what's next for this Blazer team. We'll see what they can do this offseason. We'll see what Joe Cronin has to say tomorrow. Still a lot of things to cover with this team. I'm looking forward to getting it all underway. Lots of storylines as we head into this offseason. So with that being said, that's a wrap for this season of Blazers Uprise postgame shows. But we ain't going anywhere. We'll catch you guys tomorrow on that live stream. For me, for Eric, for everyone that's guested with me on a post-game stream this year. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll have you covered next time. And until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.